Video games, no matter what generation you started playing, had their charm, but it was the consoles that added to the experience of the game, whether it be their home screen, their library, or their startup chime, the last of which we're going to rank today. What is good, y'all? It is the Young King Ken, and today I will be ranking the startup chime for every video game console, starting from the current generation of games all the way back to the 5th generation of games. That is the PS1, N64, and Sega Saturn. Couple of notes before we get started. This is solely based off of my opinion, and if you don't like it, oh well. I do want to hear your opinion in the comments. And also, even if I didn't own some of these consoles, I still have grown up hearing them everywhere, at least for most, especially with the Xbox brand of consoles. So bear with me here with what I have to say for each. So without further ado, let's get into it. To start this ranking off, let's talk 9th gen with the Switch 2. And real quick, considering the flow of the video, I'm putting Switch 1 and 2 at Generation 9. Anywho, while many may not believe it, unlike the Switch, it has a boot up chime, in which we're going to count here. It has a nice and subtle that welcomes you to the Switch 2 home screen, a varied improvement on the Switch 1. I'm placing this one at C tier because this is just a device wake up versus more of that cinematic moment that we want to look for with the A and S tiers. On the topic of the Switch 2, let's mosey on down to the Nintendo Switch, which will be a quick F tier for no chime. If you want to consider this as a sound, which is catchy and fits well with the theming of the Switch, if only this was played every time you boot up the console and not just for the first time. So I won't count it. And to clarify for future entries on the list, no chime equals automatic F regardless of menu music. There is an exception to the rule if the console has a significant add-on to it, but otherwise the rule stands. Next, let's talk PlayStation with the PS5. This theme will be memorable one day. Sounds like something you would play on a rainy day, or that you're entering a cinematic universe. A premium sound for the premium console. I'm putting this one at A tier. We need to let this sound marinate though for a couple of generations, but honestly, this console will be rated S tier one day. I mean, the chime. There are some issues that I have with the console, as far as this game library and stuff, but we'll get to that some other time. The Xbox Series X. Short, sweet, and to the point. Definitely has those Windows 98 vibes, which hits that nostalgic factor a little bit, but because it doesn't have that wow, that punch factor as some of the other consoles, I will place this one at C. Going into Gen 8, we start with the Wii U, and I'm throwing this one at F tier for no load up chime. I mean, its main menu music is pretty good for its atmospheric vibes, but there's no boot up chimes, and we want that. Next, the PS4. And this does bring me back to a more simpler time, spending my evenings going through games like Persona 5 or Final Fantasy VII Remake. Those were some good times, being waken up by the load up chime at 4 a.m. in the morning. That was a vibe too. As for the sound itself, it's that classic orchestra, but it feels more subtle. And out of the PlayStation console themes, I would put this one on the lower end of that list, but it's still good, so I'm putting this at B tier. The Xbox One. And I'm not wasting time here. This is an S tier choice, most recognizable of all the Xbox chimes. It swooshes you in at the end. Yeah, I would have loved this if I owned an Xbox console, but you know, the Xbox presentations you would hear this on, or even towards the end or the beginning of a trailer for a game. This sound fits well with the brand and is the most perfected version of the theme to date. Next, we're going to include the handhelds on the list, but the Nintendo 3DS, it's cool. Definitely one of the least memorable of the handhelds, but it does its job. It takes you right into the home screen. And as long ago as the console was, and the nostalgia I have playing hours of Mario Kart 7 and the Legend of Zelda games, that chime is just average. And by this, I'm placing it at C tier, the PlayStation Vita. One of the few PlayStation systems I did not own, but I don't think it would have changed my opinion much. D tier. It's sleek and modern, the sound is, but you really gotta work for that sound. As you get to swiping and then you gotta enter your passcode to get in. It's almost like an iPhone in a sense. And now to the Generation 7 consoles, in which I would say I spent the most hours on of any generation. I was in middle and high school at the time, and when I had the free time, it was either Black Ops Zombies, GTA, or we played Super Smash Bros. Or Mario Kart. And speaking of the last two games, let's start this generation off with the Nintendo Wii, which is getting an F tier for no time. But that menu music is crazy good. You know, this rating is kind of similar to the Wii U in a sense, but you know, I prefer the menu music of the Nintendo Wii. Still getting the F tier though. Next is the PlayStation 3. And I know there are multiple, but I will rate the most recent one, which is the one that stuck with me heavy. That orchestra prepping for a major performance, you knew that greatness awaits. See what I did with that one? Anywho, I'm placing this one at A tier, as the startup was definitely a cinematic moment and a part of the prime experience of the PlayStation 3, but it's not S, as I had to dock some points as this was an updated theme. The Xbox 360. Another cinematic moment. I really like how from the 360 to the Xbox One was just pretty much updating the same sound. I'm gonna put this one at B tier. The chime between the Xbox 360 and the Xbox One was just so good. And of course it reflected in the games. I know gameplay, you know, Xbox 360 more so than Xbox One, but honestly the chime was less iconic as the other systems. But damn, I really wish I owned a 360. I was jealous of y'all with Halo, while all I got was Killzone, which wasn't a bad game by the way, but still. Yeah, getting back on track, this is a B tier, as it has the iconic vibes, but not truly as iconic as the other consoles. With the handhelds, I will start with the Nintendo DS. S tier. Enough said. I can still remember my 10th birthday getting the Mario Kart DS bundled Nintendo DS. I had so much fun with that handheld. The load up chime was punchy, almost like it took me to a different dimension, some sort of futuristic world of some sort. And I'm probably yapping, but if I were to rank out of all the S tiers in the video, this is going at number 2. And while we're at it, let's go ahead and place the PlayStation Portable in the mix as well for the same reason. Honestly, it makes sense not to have the grand orchestra type sound, but again, it's like you're on a spaceship or you're traveling to the future, that you're just about to experience tech that was ages ahead of its time. And to a certain extent, it sure was. So that S tier, well deserved. And next we got Generation 6, which was just as exciting, where there's just a lot of nostalgia at play. Whether you experienced Halo for the first time, played GTA Vice City or San Andreas, or even Mario Kart Double Dash, there was something here for everyone. So we must start with the Nintendo GameCube, which is Nintendo's most iconic startup sound to date. Nintendo DS is, up there, of course. It's a S tier, so it's only natural that I will add this along in the S tier category. Out of all the consoles, this was my most anticipated. While the PlayStation 2 and Xbox went for more realism, the Nintendo GameCube was a more zany and childish experience. You knew that after that chime, there was a lot more packed inside that cube. A multiplayer machine, a Game Boy player, a LAN beast. There were just more than enough faces of the cube to vary your play. The PlayStation 2. This will be my most controversial take of the video, as I know that this is the best-selling console of all time, a large library of games, a DVD player, which at the time was a major plus. This console packed a punch, and it sure did, on your chest, your soul, and most importantly, your ears. Some of the startup sounds mentioned in the video were loud, but don't get me wrong, this one was a little bit much, but though the startup was an event, like your fate was determined by those blocks or towers, and they were the judges on whether or not you were going to pass and play the game, or for it to tell you that your disc cannot be read. But if you did pass, you were greeted to what seemed like a once in a lifetime experience, to that large collection of games, which got me hyped. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, this is probably not a controversial take. I'm gonna put this one at A. The sound is iconic and definitely a moment, but man, turn the damn volume down. The original Xbox. Again, the Xbox brand of consoles I never owned, but that chime fit the opening animation so well, almost as if you're going inside the components of a UFO or some sort of alien-made tech or something. The anticipation must have been great to get into the game. Again, while I was a wee bit jealous that I was a PlayStation guy, okay, maybe not as much, though I felt that the Xbox definitely felt at home in the console wars. I'm going to give this one an S tier for its cinematic sound. It's punchy and it makes it feel like it's a part of the core Xbox experience. The Game Boy Advance. Like the handheld, the chime is small and cute with their little cinematic. Lets you know from the jump what you're getting into. It's pretty simple and not grand to say at the least, but compared to the others on the list, it's okay. I still remember this chime through this day, playing the ever-living mess out of Mario Kart Super Circuit and Sonic Advance. I plan on putting this at C tier. In fact, yeah, it's going into C tier. While the sound is good for its nostalgic charm, it doesn't hit as hard as the rest. The Sega Dreamcast. If I were to describe this chime in one word, I would say at the least, smooth. The sound design of this one is truly a masterclass in its purpose, which is to greet the player. It's almost telling me, hello, welcome to our world of games. Hope you enjoy. And I sure did with games like Sonic Adventure, Jet Set Radio, and more. I'm going to put this one at an A tier as it eases you into your gaming experience. And it does its job amazingly, but needs a little bit more of that wow factor to reach the S tier. It hanged with this generation's consoles, and aside from the Game Boy Advance, it fits right into the rest. And finally, Generation 5, home to some timeless classics: Mario 64, Ocarina of Time, Crash Bandicoot, Virtual Fighter 2, and much more. So let's start off with the Sega Saturn. I did not know many who owned this console, but seriously, this chime feels like you're walking straight through the screen into another dimension. This screams 1990s, and you know the future was its main theme. I really like the beginning with the little twinkle sound and it fades into the main section of the theme. It's a short punch, cinematic, and checks those boxes. I did not own this console, but it was, it almost had that first time wonder feeling. I feel like there's something missing here, but you know what? I'm gonna add this to B. The Nintendo 64 has no load up chime, unless you want to consider the Nintendo 64 disk drive. And this sound makes me want to go watch a Nathaniel Bandy video. Shout out to him. Yeah, this is a great chime for a YouTube intro, but as a console, I don't know. Compared to the others, this is pretty mid, and not even gonna lie, yeah, you can only access this chime if you have the disk drive add-on, so I'm gonna just put this at D tier. Of course, I saved the best one for last. The PlayStation. S tier. This has to be the greatest startup sound in gaming history, possibly the most iconic in gaming. It could almost pass as two startup sounds. The first part introducing Sony Computer Entertainment, and the second with the PlayStation. It was like they were proud of what they created, and they made sure that you knew what you were playing on, just in case you forgot. And honestly, they should be proud. There's so many memories just thinking about, reciting the entire intro for Crash Bash. If you know, you know. The first half of the sound is reminiscent of Sony's, brand purpose to bring in quality with media. Feels like a VHS tape. And the second half is pleasant, and it tells the player that this isn't just any media player. It's an interactive world that you are about to be immersed in, and that just amplified the experience of each game tenfold. So yeah, this was my ranking of each console from their load up chimes. Let me know what are your favorites down in the comments, and thank you for watching. I discuss all things gaming and anime, and I do live stream skits and much more. So if you liked the video, please give this one a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And until the next one, I will need y'all to keep our kingdom seasoned. Y'all.